Hello everyone, this is a Vissim video today and I got a question about push buttons for pedestrian crossings. So in this video we will be looking into that one. It's important to note that I use one of the newest versions. This is 25 I have, 2025. And this is important because in the old versions you don't have certain features. So if I go to signal controllers and you create a new one, you can see that there are a lot more types than it used to be in older versions. So there is one feature called pedestrian crossing. So this is basically like a preset type only to be used for pedestrian crossings. It has all the features you need and it will do it automatically. So you do not need to use web, for example. Of course, it is also important that this default one, this type, will only do like a very basic pedestrian crossing with a push button. So if you already have a fully signalized intersection and a web control, so you need to then do it in a different way. So let me know in the comment section if that is what you are looking for. So at this one we look into the easy way to do it, a simple way, just a pedestrian crossing, not incorporating into a big intersection, because that is different, but it's still the same way. So you need to you still set it up the same way for web or for this, because the way it works, a push button in Vissim, it just basically plays detectors. So a detector will be your push button, and the detector's location and length will tell Vissim when you want the pedestrian to basically check in or to push the button. So the way it works is, first you need to place the crossing itself. I'm using normal pedestrians. As you can see, I have two areas. You can place the areas from the Viswalk elements or items. You can place it. Then I can just duplicate it actually. So there is one on the other side, and you place a link, just a normal link. And you don't need to make two-way link. So I don't know if you've seen other videos, but just very quickly, you can tick this as a pedestrian area. If you OK it, then you can see it has two ways. So if I click on it and push tab, then it jumps between each direction. So it will be used as a pedestrian area, that link. And when you place your detectors, so before you place your detectors, let's set up a signal controller. You change it to ped crossing. And when you go to signal groups, so let me just make it a bit bigger. So you have a couple of options here. So you can add the name. Let's call this gonna be the traffic one. This is gonna be the pedestrian one. So you can set the minimum green. You can set red amber time, and type. I think the type is probably gonna change, leave it as normal. And the actuation type, so the traffic signal will be the default signal and the pedestrian will be the calling signal group, but it has already been set up by PTV as default. Then you also have like a clearance time. So you can play with these settings to tweak the signal timing the way you want. And you also have a call detector port number, because every detector in Vissim is identified by that port number. That's the same port number that you use in Viswap. So if you do the Viswap version, you also need to be aware that you refer to a detector usually by its port number. So in this one it is by default 1. It is very important. Okay, and then you place, let's place the signal heads first. So you place the signal head for cars. Here you just set the signal controller signal group to, this is the second signal controller, because that is what we just created. So I set it to traffic. You okay? Then you place a signal head here as well. This is gonna be your pedestrian. So you select ped. You can place another one here. As you can see, while I place it in, or while I'm placing it, the arrows still point downwards, but do not worry about it, we will move it. So I just place it here, I just select it as pedestrian as well. I click and hold the button, then I push tab, and that way it moves it to the overlapping one, to the other direction. And then I release it. So now when I selected these points upwards, this point downwards. Let's place the detectors. I'm going to place it like this long. You just place it, it doesn't need to be that long. Basically around the signal head. And you just leave it as it is. As you can see, there is the port number. But you need to make sure that this port number is the same as it is here. Otherwise it wouldn't work. And then I just move it close. So if a pedestrian, waits here, it still be picked up. But of course, if you make it here, it will still check in the pedestrian. So I just move it close there. I can just duplicate it. It asks me this question. I do not want to copy signal controller, so I create that. If I click the other one, it would create a copy of this. So let's just do an example. You see, it made a copy. So we don't want that. So I'm going to move this copy, this duplicate, and push tab. So it points upwards. This is very important. Now, the last thing you want to do is you just place, you set the conflict area just in case the pedestrian is walking slowly. And the signal, this goes green for the cars. So they will not drive through pedestrians. Basically, that's it. So I already have here a pedestrian input set up and the static routing to just so pedestrians can cross. So if I play it, if I go maybe to 3D mode, then a pedestrian will appear. Now they check in on the detector, so they push the button very soon. Now the signal transition is starting. It goes to amber, red, and then the pedestrians will cross. And that's it. It is quite easy, and it's also, that's why it's recommended to use usually the latest version, because it just makes your life a lot more easier. You don't want to, code a Vissim. So on the other hand, if you want Vissim, you do the same. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, just let me know if you want to make a video about the Vissim. If you want like a bit more complicated, a bit more control, then the type will be web. And you still set up the controller, the signal heads, the detectors, just you will need to know, you need to know which port number you give and so on and so on. But anyway, I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have more questions or like the Vissim video you want, and see you in the next one.